A rant for Kaiser Permanente. My first rant for Kaiser Permanente. I'm putting it up because I'm in a ranting rage. And also some of my loyal fans here keep asking me how my health is going since my recent injuries. When I was in the hospital, they started me on prednisone. They gave me a date when I was to start tapering off. They started me at 20 milligrams. I was supposed to start tapering off in 2 weeks and make an appointment with the doctor who would be in charge of the tapering off. The 2 weeks came. I couldn't get an appointment with that doctor even earlier. So I had to wait 2 weeks, still staying on the 20, because she wasn't back in town for 2 more weeks. When she did finally get back in town and we could meet to discuss the taper, we had a 1-hour appointment, just about. She seemed quite good. She was investigating all the background, my fall, the paralysis, all of that. She prescribed a taper which would be something of her own design that she thought worked. I would go from 20 to 15 in 1 week. She believed in a sudden drop and then a long, slow taper. I would spend 1 week at 15 milligrams, and then I would go to 10 milligrams for 1 week, and then I would drop down 1 milligram a month for, it would be about 10 months till I would be off of it. That was her system. She stressed quite importantly that communication was going to be very important because every patient is different. We will be a team, she kept saying. You and your primary care physician and I, we're going to work very, very closely, keeping tabs on this because everyone is different and there will have to be some adjustments made. And that is the last I ever heard from Dr. Dillon. I began the taper. I managed okay with the 15 milligrams, some pain, but I could handle it. The next week I did the drop down to 10. After 2 or 3 days, though, I was getting a lot of pain. So obviously it was time to adjust and make contact. I left a message to have her call me. She never called. A few days went by. I left a message every day. She never called. Finally, I was in such pain, it was on a weekend, that I called the emergency clinic, and some doctor there said, go back to 15. Okay, I went back to 15. He said, and get in touch with your doctor Monday morning. All right, I left a message for my doctor. This is weeks ago. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here tampering with my administration of the prednisone by myself with some occasional supportive, that sounds good, from my primary care physician, sending messages daily to the rheumatologist, who supposedly is the top person in charge of this taper, that I have not seen for weeks. It is now 1 month. I have not been able to make any contact with her. Yesterday, I got a call from her office saying, Dr. Dillon will be calling you at 5 o'clock this evening for a phone consultation about your prednisone administration. Things were moving forward. I stayed home, kept off the phone. 5 o'clock came and went, 5:30, 6. Meanwhile, I am entering a state which is not really my normal state. My heart is pounding. I'm getting short of breath. I'm frustrated, and that very quickly escalates into ire. By 6:30, I am so upset and uncomfortable physically that I call the I call Dr. Dillon's office. Of course, no one is there. I leave a very disturbed message on the machine, nevertheless. And then I try to get in touch with my primary care doctor. Of course, I hardly ever get return calls from her either. I called the call center. They referred me to an advice nurse. Meanwhile, I guess I was sounding pretty alarming on the telephone because they got me in touch with some sort of more important person, doctor, who would stay where you are, breathe deeply. You can't do anything about this evening. I was on the phone with this person for about an hour, I guess. Then I went to bed. During that time that I was on the phone, I guess Dr. Dillon finally had made a call to me. But I was on the phone. I don't have call waiting. I found the message this morning. Listen to the message, and it was simply a repeat of what her initial prescription had been. 15 the first week, and then you're supposed to be taking 10 the second week, and then you'll be lowering it by 1 per month. I'll give you a call tomorrow. It was as though she had no input ever as to what I had been going through the past month. None of these messages had penetrated her. She didn't respond. It was like they never happened. This is rant material. I think this is rant material. I wrote a letter this morning, a 3-page letter, and trotted over to Kaiser and went to some complaint center, and it has now been duly stamped and is on its way to the higher beings. And an appointment has been made for me with a different rheumatologist for this Friday. What kind of a medical service are they running here? This is close to abuse. I consider myself being abused. If this were some other drug, it would be a different matter. We're talking about a dangerous drug here that needs supervision, and I can't get a response from the responsible doctor, the irresponsible doctor. Malpractice? Why not?
A rant for Kaiser Permanente.